You know Kevin Costner, but what about his 7 children? From a successful sound engineer to a young girl who has no problem poking fun at her dad, here's the truth about his brood. Kevin Costner got married to his college sweetheart Cindy Silva in 1978. The two welcomed their firstborn, Annie Clayton Costner, 6 years later. Annie saw her father's rise to stardom and became drawn to the world of acting at an early age. Kevin saw her ever-growing interest in his profession and worked alongside her in Dances with Wolves.
Who is it, Willie?
They look like Pawnee. My father and your father are talking to them.
In 1995, she had a brief role in another of her father's movies, Waterworld, and in August of that same year, we saw Annie play a character with the same name in The Babysitter's Club. 2 years after that, she starred alongside her father in the dystopian adventure film The Postman. Her passion for films eventually led to her switching from actor to director/producer. In 2014, Annie co-founded a production company called Sound Off Films, and she was able to find early work as a producer with her father's environmental company. Despite her apparent interest in Mother Nature, Annie's portfolio contains a handful of documentaries, such as the ESPN series 30 for 30 Bump and Spike and Racing Extinction. Unlike her father, the eldest daughter tends to keep her private life out of the public eye. However, we do know that Annie married Dr. Danny Cox at her father's private estate in California in 2016. The outdoor ceremony saw Kevin, along with other family members, in attendance. Following their marriage, the two welcomed 2 kids, Vincent and Vita. On August 4, 1986, Kevin Costner and Cindy Silva welcomed their second daughter, Lily Costner. By the time she was 9, it seemed like her father and older sister Annie's interest in acting had influenced her to try it for herself. Starring alongside her sister, Lily made her on-screen debut in 1995's The Babysitter's Club. 2 years later, she joined her again in The Postman. Although it seemed like she would follow in her father's footsteps, Lily eventually veered off into music. As a singer himself, it was apparent that Kevin was enthralled by Lily's vocal capability. According to her father, Lily has the makings of a huge star if she chooses to go that route. He stated in an interview with HuffPost, "She's content with performing. She's not a person who is trying to angle how to go faster and go higher and go larger. It's just not how she's built. She has an amazing talent. Does she want to give it to the world? I don't know." Kevin doesn't shy away from tapping Lily's talents when needed. In 2014, we got to see her express her vocal range in his film Black or White. As for her music career, Kevin stated that although Lily has her own band, he occasionally gets her to sing with him. While Lily Costner inherited their father's voice for singing, Joe Costner inherited their father's ear for music. Born on January 31, 1988, Joe, like his sister, followed a path into music. Despite his early acting roles in Tin Cup and The Postman, Joe was highly talented in audio engineering, a talent that would lead him to attend the University of Colorado Boulder to earn a degree in music production. Kevin stated in an interview with HuffPost, "He's really gifted in music. He's settling in on what his journey will be and his mission." Thanks to his passion for music production, Joe was able to find work as a sound mixer for the films Oasis and Better Than Yourself. In addition, Joe founded Spartan Recording, which aims to make recording music more of an accessible and unique experience, according to an interview he did with Vintage King. To build the music studio on wheels, Joe spent over a year revamping a trailer from 1951. Opting for a more vintage sound, he strayed away from digital gear and furnished the inside of the trailer with analog equipment one may see in a professional music studio. Aside from its classic aesthetic, it seems Joe crafted this studio with nostalgia in mind.
Do this stuff, it's an extremely fulfilling job. You just gotta enjoy it.
After his public divorce from Cindy Silva, Kevin found himself in a brief relationship with Bridget Rooney, who is the niece of ex-Pittsburgh Steelers owner Dan Rooney. Their brief stint led to the birth of his middle child, Liam Costner, who has managed to stay out of the spotlight throughout his life. Although Kevin seemingly values his role as a father, it is unclear whether or not he maintains a strong relationship with his second oldest son, since he doesn't talk about him as much as his other 6 kids. According to a People magazine article from 2002, those close to Rooney suggested that their relationship was somewhat strained and that Kevin didn't see Liam on a regular basis at the time. Liam prefers to keep his life away from the public, and his father presumably adheres to that wish. As for why this may be the case, it could be to avoid misinformation or any information at all from inevitably spreading. After his birth, rumors began circulating as Bridget Rooney stated that Kevin demanded a paternity test. His refusal to admit that Liam was one of his children could have led to Liam shying away from public attention. Kevin Costner and Christine Baumgartner began dating in 1998. While the two did get married in 2004, Kevin stated that the process of getting there was a grueling one. From the start of their relationship, Baumgartner had made it known that she wanted kids. Although it may not seem like that should have been an issue for the father of 4, Kevin was admittedly reluctant to have any more children. That was until Baumgartner gave him an ultimatum that almost ended their relationship. Kevin eventually agreed, and the two welcomed Cayden Costner in 2007. Kevin was seemingly worried about his role in his soon-to-be son's life. He told People, "My fundamental fear is that my new baby, someone else will raise him, meaning that my life will end prematurely. I won't get to coach him in what I think it is to be a man. I'd like to be the person that tells him about life." Fortunately, this all came full circle, as Kevin stated in a 2014 interview with HuffPost. "At night, he wants stories about what I did, stories of adventure that I've done. It's not like a regular bedtime story, it's like, what did you really do?" Luckily, Kevin's fears were unfounded, as he was able to remain present in Cayden's life. According to Kevin, not only is his 16-year-old boy a gentle soul, but he's a good big brother as well. Born on February 12, 2009, Hayes Logan Costner is Kevin Costner's 4th son. Early on, Kevin suggested that Hayes was on his way to being an athlete. In an attempt to lower the number of Little League games they were attending, Hayes found himself playing with kids older than him. Despite this, Kevin revealed in an interview with Today that Hayes easily adapted to playing with an older age group, stating that, quote, "he can hack it." While it's still too early to decipher what his passions are, the 14-year-old seems to have an interest in acting. As of November 2022, Hayes began following in his father's footsteps by acting in Kevin's film, Horizon. Kevin told People that his initial intention for casting his son in the 4-part series was to spend more time with him. He revealed, "I'm like any other parent. I'm trying to figure out, like, this is really neat. You should come be with me." In addition to spending more quality time with his father, Hayes is seemingly exceeding expectations. Kevin stated, "He is very good. Hayes plays the namesake character that I actually play in the movie. He's 13 years old and the screenplay's been around longer than that." Born on June 2, 2010, Grace is the youngest of Kevin Costner's 7 kids. According to Kevin, Grace is his little girly girl. While sports don't seem to be her thing, Kevin stated that she has other interests outside of athletics. He told Today, "She's sewing and dancing, but when she sees the ball bouncing in the backyard, I could see her gravitate out with the boys, but everything has to stop when she plays." Despite her feminine nature, the 13-year-old girl is considered to be the blunt one of the group, with an observant nature. Kevin suggested that Grace is keenly aware of his change in appearance due to his job as an actor. Costner said in the same Today interview, "If I come home and that haircut I actually had was pretty severe, and Gracie looks at me and then looks at Mom and says, 'Daddy's been fighting again, huh?'" In addition, Kevin told Jimmy Kimmel a story about Grace pointing out his weight gain in his movie Black or White. When Grace quietly sat down next to her father while he was watching the movie, a scene where Kevin got out of the pool caused Grace to exclaim,
"Dad, you got a fat belly."
Though we could blame her bluntness on her age, it seems Grace will be a force to be reckoned with when she's ready. With a family so diverse, it's only natural for jealousy to brew among his 7 children, something that Kevin Costner was all too ready for. In a 2014 interview with Closer Weekly, the actor suggested that his kids had already shown some jealousy toward one another. While he understands the nature of his relationship with his 7 kids, they may not be aware of how his love spreads toward them. He stated, "It almost seemed impossible to love the first child any more than you love them. And then suddenly the second one comes and you think, there's so much room for love. There's so much room." It is not a question of whether or not he loves one more than the other, as Kevin stated that he loves them equally. If jealousy were to brew, he'd remind his kids that the love he has for each of them may not be the same, but that doesn't mean he doesn't love them any less than the others. Kevin stated, "I basically reminded my older kids that they were going to have twice as long with me on this planet. I said, look, they're not going to have what you had," and at that point they all just embraced each other.